Hi guys, welcome back to 10.3. We are moving on to writing recursive and explicit formulas for a geometric sequence. So to figure out our formula for a recursive, for an explicit form, we notice that for geometric sequences, my first term is just a sub 1. My second term is a sub 1 times r. My third term is a sub 1 times r. And notice here that a sub 2 I multiply by 1r, a sub 3 I multiply by 2r's, a sub 4, 3r's. Notice that it's always one less r than it is the term. So a sub n is going to be that first term times n minus 1 factors of r. So r to the n minus 1 power. So how that's different, remember arithmetic, it was a sub 1 plus my difference times n minus 1. For geometric, it's a sub 1 times my ratio raised to the n minus 1 power. It's got to be up in the exponent to make it have that n minus 1 exponential power there. So here we go. Write the explicit formula and a recursive formula for finding the nth term in the sequence. So for both the formulas, I need to know what r is. So let's start with r. Remember, r is going to be 2 divided by negative 1. This term divided by the term before it, or negative 4 divided by 2. Either way, we find that r is negative 2. So my recursive formula, just like with arithmetic sequences, recursive formula is always going to start with first term. So in this case, a sub 1 is negative 1. And then for each term that comes behind it, which would be a sub n minus 1, we're going to take the term that came before it, and instead of adding the difference to it, this time we're going to multiply it by our ratio. So negative 2 times the term that came before it. So for each term, it's negative 2 times the term that came before it. For the explicit formula, we're going to use that one that we were just talking about on the other page. So a sub n, it has the first term in it as well. We put it outside the parentheses. Inside the parentheses is going to be my common ratio raised to the n minus 1 power. So notice for recursive and for explicit, you've got to have that first term. It's in there somewhere. Here it says negative 1, and then for each term that comes after it, multiply them by negative 2. And that's what this one is saying. It's saying negative 1 times negative 2 to the n minus 1 powers. All right, let's see if we can do the next one. Again, it wants us to write both the explicit and the recursive formula. In order to do those, we need to find our ratio. Our ratio for this one is going to be 16.5 divided by 3, which is 5.5. So if that is my common ratio, then for my recursive form, what does recursive have to start with? Hopefully you are screaming at the computer now. It always starts with the first term. In this case, that's 3. The rule for the other terms is take the term that came before it, and this time we're multiplying by 5.5. So 5.5 times the term that came before it. For explicit form, we've got a sub n is equal to 5.5. Oh, sorry. Just kidding. We have to start with our first term, which is 3. Inside the parentheses is that 5.5, our common ratio, raised to the n minus 1 power. All right, and this one says find the 11th term of the geometric sequence. Now, if I want to find the 11th term, which formula do I want to use? Not the recursive, because remember recursive, you have to find a sub 1 and a sub 2 and a sub 3 and a sub 4, because you need to know what a sub 10 is in order to find a sub 11. So for this one, we want to use the explicit form. So first we need to find our r. I'm going to take, 151.2 and divide it by 189. And I find that my r is 0.8. So my explicit form is going to be my first term, 189, times that common ratio raised to the n minus 1 power. And now to find the 11th term, I just plug in 11 for m. So the 11th term would be a sub 11, which is 189 times 0.8 to the 11 minus 1. And when I put that into my calculator, I'm going to have to use an approximation symbol because it's a decimal approximation. So it's 20.294. So remember, AP Calculus requires 3 decimal places. So we're going to go ahead and start switching over to that. As I've been telling you in class, you will lose a point here and you'll lose a point here if you don't give it 3 decimal places and only 3 decimal places. All right, that is it for writing explicit and recursive form. Next video will be today's stuff where we talk about geometric series.